So the deck lists for the new Commander decks are out, and I gotta say I'm very excited. That being said, the Maestros Massacre precon could use some upgrades. Oftentimes, the pre-constructed decks contain multiple themes, allowing you to pick which direction you want to take the deck. So which one will we go with, and what's our budget? Before we start, please like and subscribe, it's a great way to support the channel. Or you can order this deck online. I've got an affiliate link in the description. Obviously, you should support your local game store if you can, but not everyone has a game store near them, so they're forced to order online. Let's take a look at the deck before we start making changes and figure out what cards to cut and which to keep, as well as what problems the deck has and what pieces are missing. Also, we're going to try to keep the budget under $50. This way you'll be spending no more than $100 out of pocket, $50 for the upgrades and $50 for the initial deck. So let's compare it to our usual checklist. What we're generally wanting in a commander deck is 50 mana sources, usually split between 37 lands and 13 pieces of ramp, 10 pieces of card advantage, 8 to 10 pieces of spot removal, 2 to 3 board wipes, 2 pieces of graveyard hate, and 1 sudden I win card. Meanwhile, Maestros Massacre has 47 mana sources, 37 lands, which is good, but only 10 pieces of ramp, 11 pieces of card advantage, this is good, but 2 of them are just cantrips and not true card advantage, 9 pieces of spot removal, 3 almost board wipes, but only 1 actual board wipe, no graveyard hate, and no sudden I win card. The deck is seriously lacking any win conditions or direction. There's some synergy with both face commanders. Parniz the Subtle Brush could be a really fun politics commander, but no one trusts the Grixis player. More than likely, if you want to build her, you'll wind up with a Chaos deck instead. So for this deck, we'll be focusing on the face commander, Anhalo the Painter. So let's take a closer look at him and figure out what path we want to take our upgrades. Anhalo the Painter is a 3-mana 1/3 legendary vampire assassin with Death Touch. They also make it so the first instant or sorcery we cast each turn has Casualty 2. Casualty is a new ability from the Maestros, the Grixis family. Basically, we sacrifice a creature with a power at least as large as the casualty number, and then we can copy that spell. So Anhalo is a combination aristocrat spellslinger deck. The only drawback is that unlike Crew, where we can have multiple small creatures crew a vehicle, you can only sacrifice a single creature for casualty. So we need creatures that have at least 2 power. The ideal creature for this would be token creatures, and since we're in Grixis colors, that means zombies and drakes. Additionally, we're a spellslinger deck, so we want some copy effects as well as some payoffs. We could go all in on aristocrats, but that would be building a whole new deck from scratch with about half the cards swapped out. Maybe I'll do one of those in the future, but today I want to focus on doing upgrades. So what cards are we cutting first? Blood-Soaked Champion requires us to attack with a creature when we get back to the battlefield, and we aren't really going to be turning our creatures sideways in this deck. Skyclave Shade isn't bad, but it's not great either. Spellbinding Soprano could be good mana acceleration, but I'm not sure it fits our theme. Both of the Phoenixes are great magic cards, but I think I'd rather build a Syrinx deck than try to make a Phoenix sub-theme. Puppeteer Click is a great magic card, but it works better in a mill deck that has some flicker synergies, rather than what we're trying to accomplish. I'm not a fan of Call of the Skybreaker, so it's usually one of the cards I cut first. Mimic Vat doesn't have a lot of synergy in this deck, nor does Smuggler's Buggy. Determined Iteration is interesting, but we don't have a lot of big creatures that we'd want to populate. Ride of the Raging Storm does basically nothing for us. Flawless Forgery relies too much on what our opponents are doing, and it's a bit pricey. Parniz the Subtle Brush is interesting, but deserves her own deck. In fact, most of the cards I've cut so far would go great in a Parniz Politics Chaos deck. For interaction, we're cutting Hex, River's Rebuke, Sever the Bloodline, Maestro's Confluence, and Reign of the Pit. Sever the Bloodline is situationally amazing, but most often it'll be a 4-mana kill 1 creature spell. Maestro's Confluence would be better in a Parniz deck. Reign of the Pit could be very powerful, but knowing my luck, I'd end up with a 6-mana 5/5. Hex requires 6 targets to cast, so it could be good, or it could just sit in your hand waiting until it's too late to use. River's Rebuke only targets a single player, and for 6 mana we can get much better board wipes. So what cards are we adding? To start, we have Sky Diamond, Charcoal Diamond, and Fire Diamond. You could add the Talismans instead, but remember we're trying to keep our upgrades under $50. Next, more interaction. We want Abrade, Negate, Narset's Reversal, and Chef's Kiss. Narset's Reversal is also a sudden I win card in the right situation. This card is amazing, and the more you play Spellslinger, the more in love with it you will become. For token generators, we've got Cemetery Reaper, Curse of Disturbance, and Talrand Sky Summoner. For copy effects, we've got Expansion Explosion, Increasing Vengeance, Double Cast, Dual Caster Mage, which is a great inclusion that we can then sack to copy another spell later on, Bonus Round, Reverberate, and the almighty Thousand Year Storm. Finally, for win cons, we have Ral Storm Conduit and Professor Onyx. And now the deck functions much better and should operate more smoothly. Instead of having a split personality, half Spellslinger, half Politics, you're focused on a single deck with multiple win cons. Talrand Sky Summoner may be the best card in this deck. Every time you cast a spell, you can sack the Drake created by Talrand to Anhelo to copy the spell. I included a link below to the cards I'd add, so feel free to check that list out. Give me a couple of weeks, I do intend to create a really nasty version of Anhelo down the road. Spellslinger and Aristocrats are my favorite archetype in Commander, and having a commander who can do both sounds like a blast. In the meantime, how would you build Anhelo? Thanks for tuning in. Once again, a huge shout out to my editor Cute Stuff. I couldn't make these videos without her. If you'd like to hire her to edit your own videos, there's a link to her Fiverr page below. I'm doing a push and trying to post new videos every weekday for the next few months, so look forward to lots of new videos in the near future. Or you can click here for more Commander content. I've also started a Patreon. You can click the link below or go to patreon.com/Danon. Stay safe, and I'll see you all again next time on Commander by Danon.